The nitty-gritty, shall we?
Yeah, there's something interesting that could happen in this matchup, Cedric.
A little bit. So Amalia combo is really weird because it does this thing alongside Wild Growth Walker and Exploring where you gain life, you explore, which triggers, and then Wild Growth Walker triggers more gaining life, and then it's more exploring. You do this loop, right? And there are ways for this loop to continue, but ideally what happens is that Amalia gets to 20 life and it goes boom, everything is dead, and then Amalia is left over, and you explore something at the top of your deck, maybe Aetherflux Reservoir, so that you have 50 more life, draw that, kaboom, kill you. Or what could happen is Simon can interact with you in ways that normally wouldn't happen. So as an example, let's say my Amalia is doing the Explorer thing. It's going up to 17, 18, 19. I'm almost at 20 power. Well, let's say it gets to 19, trigger on the stack, and we cast Defiant Strike targeting that. If I'm Simon, that's going to make it a 20 power creature. Then the Explorer trigger resolves. Now it's 21, no kaboom. Okay, that's weird, so then it's just gonna keep happening. You can also do this with Monstrous Rage as well, because that can target any creature, not just Simon. So now you're gonna bypass that exact number, which is 20, get to 21 and above, and then this will cause a draw. What do we do?
What do we do?
What do we do here?
What do we do?
We play again. It's a draw. That's what a draw is. Okay, fine. Most of the time, it's an unintentional draw. Well, guess what? We're going to play again is what's going to happen. So there are other ways for this to happen as well. You can give Wild Growth Walker Indestructible so that when Amalia has at 20, it goes kaboom. Wild Growth Walker goes, I'm indestructible. I'm the strongest in all the land, so you can't kill me. So we're going to keep doing this. Look at me, look at you, do the loop. Can't break the loop. The card that gives Wild Growth Walker is Lorent Escape, which again, most of those effects only target your stuff. Lorent Escape can target anything. I say all that to say this. Let's get weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's that sound? Let's get weird in this top 8. Most matches best of 5, maybe best of 6, maybe best of 7, maybe best of 18, maybe best of 22.
We could be here potentially for the rest of time.
Yeah,
that's
we
not
may
off the
never
table.
get to leave. We'll have to see. You get to watch and find out, just like we do here in the booth.
All right, everybody, it's time to find another finalist and indeed find out who is the greatest. Dane, Ailey, and Corey, take it away.
I don't want to be here forever. I got stuff to do.
That's too bad. We're hanging here forever.
Too bad, so sad.
Yeah, you gotta.
That's right.
Welcome to the second semifinals, everybody. I'm Ailey Loney alongside Corey Baumeister, and we are jumping in to a battle of the Great Danes of this Pro Tour this weekend. Christoffer Larsen, Simon Nielsen, both playing two kind of fringe decks, I guess?
Yeah.
Heroic, more so than the Amalia combo, but yeah, we could be in for a long one, Corey.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is going to be one of the strangest semifinals I think we could possibly ever see. I'm really excited and here for these kind of weird scenarios that Cedric was kind of touching at the booth here.
Simon made us aware of this weird interaction. Marnie gave us the rundown, and we're all just like, what?
Exactly.
Marshall burst out laughing, saying that is the funniest thing ever. And I bet he's so happy that he's not in the booth right now because, yeah, this potentially could be a long one.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be really funny.
There is the Reverend Hoplite, and there is the Selfless Savior, the goodest boy in all of Magic, ready to protect one of these creatures, the key creatures in the combo of Amalia.
All right, and I don't see any other creature here for Simon, so this is going to be a case of let's get this one gigantic here. You see that Homestead Courage played and flashbacked right away to just get this thing going. And, you know, with the right set of draws, Simon could even close this out next turn. Would be a little tricky, but we'll see what happens.
That'd be pretty sweet. I bet he would love to see that before Christopher could even get a whiff of his combo.
I was going to write no blog on that and just put it in.
So Amalia here is what Christopher definitely wants to start with to give him the opportunity to just really win the game next turn and not have to think about any draws, anything like that.
Yeah. Would love to have Amalia and a source of life gain in hand as well as the Wild Growth Walker. So still a couple of check boxes to get through there for Christopher.
Yep.
On the other side of things, Simon, what do we got? We got an Ancestral Anger. Two, perhaps? No, just the one.
Yeah, just the one. Looks
Two
like
lands.
we also had a Lorentz Escape, which could cause some trouble here.
Man, that is such a cheeky interaction.
Yeah, and they're gonna do some math here. And Chris deciding what you want to play first. There's the Innkeeper, Amalia, there's Quarter Calling. So definitely some options here. And that is tempting because if you want to play Takenuma and play Amalia, which it looks like it's there. Yeah, usually you play the land first there, Chris, but this is kind of the buddies here kind of saying, yeah, well, I swear, I will have the
I
mana
do have
to
a
cast
land.
it.
Promise, yeah. I'll just owe you a land drop in future. How's that?
Yeah, and there is an Innkeeper, and there is Quarter Calling.
Okay.
So over time, we can definitely get this combo going. Maybe not necessarily next turn without a little bit of help.
But soon.
Yeah, but now, you know, the hairs on their neck are going to stand up here as Simon has to be on guard that the combination or that the combo can go. So now if there is any pump spell from Simon, this is going to be the turn to hold it up and maybe force that draw because, well, a draw is better than just straight losing the game for Simon.
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of like a fog, you know, just on an entire game.
Fogs the entire game, yeah, absolutely.
Or a rewind, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
no, JK, this game is, actually, it didn't happen, so.
Yeah, and I'm sure Simon is used to this scenario a lot more than Chris, right? Like, Amalia was definitely a more known quantity than Boros Heroics, so Chris probably had to learn all these situations from teammates, getting into how to play around these kind of draw scenarios from Boros Heroic.
We're gonna start things off with Lorenz Escape, targeting the hoplites. So, indestructible, not that it needs that much help, but it is also hexproof. Get that scry. And let's see if we can draw into some more gas here for Simon.
Yeah, and there is one anger in hand plus a favored hoplite.
Yeah. Don't really need two of those down on the board at the same time.
No, not really, not ideal. Definitely want like a Swift Spear plus the favored hoplite.
Yep. So down to 9 goes Christoffer Larsen.
And now Simon just debating if he wants to play the second one or hold it back.
Looks like he might be adding another hoplite to the equation.
Okay, let's see if Chris can find any way to gain life or get a Wild Growth Walker into play as well. There's Fauna Shaman. Okay, so can go Innkeeper, get a treasure, play a second green source. So that is 3 green plus the 2 creatures to convoke. I think we can do it this turn.
Okay.
Yeah, we can go get Wild Growth Walker right now, and it looks like we're gonna do
Whoa.
it. But Simon does have the Lorenz Escape to give the Wild Growth Walker indestructible. So I think we might have a draw here to start.
Oh my. Well, okay. Well, we did it.
This is going to be the greatest semifinal. And here we go. We see with the graphic, game 1, as now that was draw number 1. So one interesting thing that probably does not come up here is that still counts as game number 1 before they start sideboarding.
Yeah.
So let's say they were to just do that again. Number 1, that would be hilarious.
Don't give them ideas, Cole.
Number 2, they would start sideboarding after this.
Eliminate a Virtuoso, the first creature down on the board here for Simon Nielsen. Do they switch play draw then? They do, right?
I don't think anyone was prepared for this. I don't think our graphics were prepared to show draws on the side.
I mean, it could at least be like game 1.5, right?
Yes,
Here comes
exactly.
Amalia. That's what Christopher wants to see. So turn 3, if we can go Innkeeper into Wild Growth Walker, then we're cooking, and hope that Simon Nielsen doesn't interrupt.
Yeah, so there is Amalia, but I saw Chris's hand, and it was just Innkeeper, Fauna Shaman, land.
Okay.
So it is still possible to combo off next turn with a top deck Wild Growth Walker.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of damage coming in through with this Virtuoso. Getting the monster roll, so effectively +3.
Okay, this is getting large here. All right, so this is a large swing already. Don't think it's quite lethal.
Just a little bit painful right now. Nice, okay, Ancestral Anger. Number 2, so it gets increasingly powerful the more that you have on in the graveyard, excuse me, and drawing some more cards. So let's find some more gas.
Absolutely. And now just a reminder here for everyone, maybe a reminder for us as well. Anyone who was on the play when the draw occurred, they get to be on the play again. So just a heads up if and probably when this happens again.
So what you're telling me is Simon Nielsen just went Control Z.
Yes. Okay, so look at this. This was an attack for 20.
Whoa.
And this was a chump block already. And all right, that is game number 1.
Officially?
You know, yeah, in quotation marks, going to Simon. So now it's going to be 101.
Wowza.
And these players are going to head to the sideboard where a lot of stuff has happened.
Yeah.
So Larsen for the 3rd game is going Fatal Push, Sentinel of the Nameless City, which I want to stop and talk about that one. I talked to Ely before this, and Ely says kind of the plan here in this matchup, there's a lot of different angles that they're going to take against this kind of strategy. Number 1, Sentinel to get map tokens, to get Wild Growth Walker to be gigantic and kind of win that way.
Okay.
Another thing that they have considered doing, and is their plan to kind of break up these draw scenarios, is let Amalia get to like 15 and then Fatal Push their own creature to break up the combo because, well, the likelihood that Simon has a pump spell or a way to make it indestructible is very high.
Yeah.
So their plan post-board is go Wild Growth Walker, Sentinel, get some maps, make just a giant Wild Growth Walker to be able to win the game that way, or kill their own creature to stop Simon from forcing a draw.
Taking one for the team, huh?
Pretty normal stuff here.
Poor Wild Growth Walker.
The rest of the sideboarding, we also have Tamiyo's Safekeeping and Thoughtseize coming in, taking out the Reservoir, a couple of Collected Companies, and then some one-ofs here. Haywire Mite, Fauna Shaman, C-Note Scout, and some Return to the Ranks. And then the flip side, while they think about this Thoughtseize, Simon is bringing in Reckless Rage, Rending Volleys, Torch the Tower, and taking out Homestead Courage, 2 of those, God's Willing, Lauren's Escaped, and 1 10th District Legionnaire.
So pretty big changes here in game number 2.5. I don't know. Game number 2, effectively, as we have 1 win so far for Simon Nielsen. This is best 3 out of 5. But one thing I can confidently say, Corey, is that there's going to be a Dane in the finals.
We can say that. A Dane versus Seth Manfield in the finals regardless. Going to be really exciting. So takes the Monstrous Rage as that's the most explosive pump spell. I think it was probably between Monstrous Rage and the Virtuoso, as that can just get out of hand, as we saw Simon almost win on turn 3 there.
Yeah.
And now, and Chris would have loved to Thoughtseize away the only creature in hand, but with having so many creatures, it makes a lot of sense to take one of the pump spells.
Yeah, pretty redundant copies of the creatures, but yeah, kicking things off with Monastery Swift Spear. Another excellent target for all of these pump spells, getting larger every single time an instant or non-creature spell is cast.
15.
Cenote Scouts hits the board and starts exploring.
All right, so Explorers get to land. Now we got Swift Spear. I believe that was a Reckless Rage off the top to be able to clear out a problematic creature. That card's going to be excellent here. Not only does it trigger prowess, but dealing with Amalia before it gets out of hand is definitely the way to go.
Illuminator Virtuoso joins the hasty 1-drop. No 3rd land, though.
All right, I saw Amalia, the Prosperous Innkeeper, Court of Calling, and Wild Growth Walker.
Wow.
The cards are there.
Everything's there, yeah. We just need to get it on the board.
And we'll see what you want to lead with first. Amalia is the most important one, so it's the one you want in play, but it's also the one you want to protect. So being coy with that one is what Chris wants to do, and seems like the correct play to me.
Yeah, just leading up with the Prosperous Innkeeper, getting extra mana available to perhaps do a 1-2 punch, Court of Calling shenanigans perhaps, collect a company, we'll see what he's got in store. But the turn passes back here to Simon Nielsen, who is going to want to try and get that 13 life down to 0 ASAP.
Yep, and we saw the first 2 turns from these players. A lot of things happen, that's very important turns, but here on out is the turns where the players have to be very aware of Christoffer's combo, and Simon especially has to be aware of this and leave open a pump spell here.
Man, you don't typically see a blink match, as it were, in this kind of setup. It's usually the counterspell wars, but it's like, yes, whoever blinks first, you probably gonna get punished.
Yeah, it's a very strange one, that's for sure.
Well, you know what? Simon Nielsen's breaking records and setting history and whatnot, so might as well just keep doing that. With,
Yeah, no kidding.
Potentially more than 5.
Yeah,
games.
breaking a record with making the top 8 of 4 in a row. And I would like to hear if it was a record here of a draw to start off a semifinals.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever happened. I've never seen it, at least.
There we go, third land for Simon Nielsen now. He's got some options. The Innkeeper is one piece of the puzzle for the combo. So might be looking to Reckless Rage that away. Favorite Hoplite hits the board first, and away we swing with the Virtuoso and the Swift Spear.
One thing I saw is a Spikefield Hazard. So Spikefield Hazard not very good at all in this matchup, but being able to deal with a Prosperous Innkeeper right now is definitely valuable. So we might see that just fired off to get a Prowess trigger, and then there's also the Defiant Strike, which can head at the Virtuoso to get maybe 6 damage in. We'll see how aggressive Simon wants to play this.
Christoffer does have some insurance in the form of Extraction Specialist in hand, though, if one of these creatures does hit the bin. And there is Spikefield Hazard on the Innkeeper, but that does get exiled, so Extraction Specialist won't be able to get that back.
And I think that was post-combat, a slight mistake that probably won't matter, because I do see Simon rode 14 to 13. It should essentially be down to 12. Okay, there we go. That was with first strike damage on the stack. So here is the 2 damage.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
So then Prowess would trigger beforehand, and then it'll be extra damage coming through.
Of course, Simon's not making any mistakes. What am I?
Oh, yeah.
They just weren't quite to the damage of the Swift Spear. And most importantly with that Spikefield Hazard, killing Prosperous Innkeeper is awesome. There's an Extraction Specialist in Christoffer's hand, so if it didn't go to exile, Extraction Specialist to bring back Prosperous Innkeeper here would have been awesome. So might still see the Specialist just to bring back the Scout.
Think so?
Maybe.
Is it that important?
Not super important, but it's a good value play, and it's a good way to be mana efficient without spending your treasure. The other option here is Amalia plus Wild Growth Walker. So
pretty sure Amalia is just going to get dead immediately.
that's what I think Christoffer would have an idea as well. So Extraction Specialist, get back 1 blocker here, and then next turn try to go for the combination is reasonable. This is a very close turn for Chris, and probably the most important turn of the game.
Got Quarter Calling in hand, Amalia, Wild Growth Walker, Extraction Specialist. On the other side of things, we did see Reckless Rage in hand for Simon Nielsen.
And
so
Defiant Strike as well.
Yeah, he is prepared for this creature to hit. Okay, so going for the value play like you mentioned, Extraction Specialist getting the Snowdy Scout, hits the Explorer. Okay, some protection for the creatures. Okay. Oh no, never mind, it's going in the bin.
Okay, so did have to take a damage for that as well.
Having access to all colors of mana does hurt sometimes. Thanks, Mana Confluence.
Yep, absolutely. And now we'll see if Simon can clear this out. So number 1, we have Reckless Rage to clear out a blocker. So the strange thing about Reckless Rage, it actually doesn't clear out a blocker, because right now the Scout cannot block.
Yeah, can't block or attack as long as Extraction Specialist is there.
Yeah, so if you kill one of them, the other one can block. With an Iganjo as the draw, that's not ideal. Could start with a Defiant Strike on the Virtuoso, and then if you find something like Monstrous Rage, we're done here for sure.
Oh yeah. Just being able to get through any blockers that remain has been such a pivotal way that we've seen Simon Nielsen win over this weekend.
Yep.
Big thing here now for Simon Nielsen. Things looking pretty good for Christoffer Larsen on the other side of things if he can get these creatures to stick. But Simon Nielsen might not even want to let him get to an untap.
Yeah, if Chris can untap with at least 1 more creature, can probably go Amalia plus Wild Growth Walker and then Cord for 1. Maybe to get the train going with Amalia, but definitely...
Extraction Specialist does have lifelink, so that can also get it started. Man, big things here for Simon Nielsen. If you're Seth Manfield watching this, who do you want to see in the finals alongside you?
I would think probably Amalia combo. Actually, you know, probably Simon. Probably Simon. I think Amalia combo. The Vein Ripper interaction is not that good against Amalia, but it's honestly not that good against Boros Heroic as well. So Simon could be in trouble, or Seth could be in trouble against both, but I would think he would favor Simon a little bit.
Move to attacks. Favorite Hoplite along with the Monastery Swift Spear getting in. Our Virtuoso, though, just sticking back.
Yeah, just hanging back. So Simon not going for lethal here, going for just the slow plan to have Reckless Rage for the first meaningful threat and have the Defiant Strike just in case the combo does happen. And then Simon can be like, all right, let's go to game 4. I'm up 1-0-2.
Is there a world where we don't see Simon do anything on this turn, just keeping Iganjo up for the inevitable attack with the Extraction Specialist?
Definitely possible if Chris doesn't get into combat at all. But if Extraction Specialist goes to block any of the creatures, Simon's hand is forced.
Yeah.
Okay.
That answers that question. Reckless Rage. Gonna take care of the Extraction Specialist.
And now this unlocks the ability to block with the Scout. No meaningful block, though, as the Swift Spear is a 2-3, and as is the favored Hoplite. So 4 damage taken.
(16-4) in a much closer matchup than the first 1.5 games we saw.
Yes, absolutely.
Follow-up here is going to be Companion to Hand.
Purchase Giganta, that is not great. And now there is no Defiant Strike to be able to force this game to a draw. So if Christoffer's able to piece together Amalia, Wildgrowth Walker, and a way to gain life, I think we're all, I wouldn't say all done here, but Simon will have no battlefield. The battlefield will be left with just a gigantic Amalia, and Chris will be at 60, 70 life. The pieces are there in hand. It's just if Chris can, you know, cast them in such a way that the last spell gains a life. Because if you go Amalia into Wildgrowth Walker and then you cord for
Lunarch Veteran.
Lunarch Veteran, it's whenever another creature enters the battlefield. So it doesn't trigger itself. So you can't do it in that order.
Yeah.
And same with Prosperous Innkeeper. So Quarter Calling has to go, and then there has to be one more creature. So that's the weird thing, is you have to play one of your creatures, cord, have enough to leave 2 mana open, and cast a 2-drop, and that ends up being a little tricky here.
That sounds like way too much to do with what Christoffer has available.
Yeah, I would think so as well.
Because we have 4 mana right now. I didn't see an Innkeeper in hand. We know about Amalia.
It's a Temple Garden as well, so that's 5 mana. You can go cord for 1. Okay, so 2 mana plays one of the creatures. Then you use 2 of those creatures plus 2 land to cord for 1, and then you have 1 mana left over. So I think we're 1 mana short.
I think Christoffer might be mathing it out physically with a couple things.
Yep, we're 1 mana short. So close to just winning, you know, quote unquote winning this game, and all because Simon bought Giganta, has the Defiant Strike and could have prevented it, but maybe Simon already did this math, be like, you actually have to have those 3 cards, Innkeeper, Wildgrowth Walker, and Amalia, which would be possible, but with Cord in the mix, it isn't.
Yeah. There's 3 green pips there, proving a little too expensive. Convoke does help, but yeah, need the creatures on the board. So 2 mana being floated. Thinking about it.
Chris was like, I'll let you in on it.
Oh boy.
Oh man, this is just a classic Christoffer Larsen move here.
Yeah.
In a
like,
huge high stakes moment, is still just like, well, I'm gonna cast these in some order, but you know.
That's hilarious.
Oh.
I'd love to see Simon's face right now. He's probably got the biggest smile on it.
Oh, well, that's always.
Yeah. It's just like his default.
So here we go. We can go Amalia into Wildgrowth Walker and then cord for 1. What does that really do? And the answer is not much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no 1-drops that enter and gain a life. Well, Cenote Scout, it explores.
Yes.
So that, yeah, that could work.
If there is 2 of them. Oh, he
There are
sided
2.
one out.
Oh, no.
He sided one of them out, everyone.
So if he had that, that would have kicked the train off.
It would have. Yep, absolutely.
Oh, wow, that hurts.
Brutal.
Oh, boy.
He comes back, these players are still laughing.
Oh, yeah, no stress whatsoever here. Simon Nielsen sitting in an excellent position now. 2-0 up against his friend and countryman Christoffer Larsen. Kick things off here with our beloved Monastery Swift Spear in for 1 point of damage, and Simon Nielsen is off to the races. Okay, all right, there you are, Innkeeper.
Okay. Yeah, Chris was so close to making it happen there.
Close, man. I wonder if he's kicking himself about that Cenote Scout.
You know, it is just kind of their sideboard game plan,
Yeah.
and it's just brutal to draw the C-Note Scout. You know, leaving one of them in your deck is very important for those kind of scenarios, but having 2 of them, it is a very low impact card.
Torch the tower gets rid of our prosperous Innkeeper. 3 mana available to Christoffer Larsen. Takes a couple extra points of damage there from the Swift Spear. The follow-up is going to be the Wild Growth Walker, so that's a little trickier to deal with.
But no second land for Simon. That is huge here. And, you know, the team of Christoffer Larsen, Eli Cassis, and friends that actually played this Amalia deck, their plan post-board really revolves around Wild Growth Walker and just having that be a game plan. We've seen this card in a more fair shell in the past.
Yeah.
You know, some kind of Golgari decks that just want this to get big and to beat other aggro decks. Well, that plan's kind of coming back here to just really get it up to 5 power, you know, and that would just be gaining 12 life.
Ah, the days of Wild Growth Walker and Jade.
Oh,
Knight
yeah.
right there.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
miss those, I will say that much. This
Yeah.
thing was impossible to kill once it got going. Ugh.
Yeah. I played those decks, and I don't miss that either.
Oh, boy.
A brick on land as well with the Defiant Strike.
Drops his hand.
Well, because that's it.
Oh, man.
That is it. You play Innkeeper, you play Amalia. Now it's going to go off.
La-da-da-da-da-da. He shows us exactly what's happening.
Simon's like, I'll make you do it. Simon's just probably making him do it just because it's time consuming and they're having fun here.
Oh, these guys are great.
Oh, this is absolutely hilarious here. So we are going to game 5. We are
we?
Yep, well, there was a draw, so 2-1.
It's 4, Corey. It's game 4.
Well, there was a draw.
Well, yeah.
So it's game 5, yeah.
Okay. Well, a 4th game that should hopefully have an outcome, so.
Yes.
Oh, man, let's get into it. So 2-1, Christoffer Larsen gets the combo. Finally, we got to see Big Amalia blow things up. Well, we can imagine it happened. You know, in the previous round, I actually forgot entirely that Gigantha was the companion in this deck.
Yes. You know, Simon probably forgot it a couple of times as well, as it doesn't come up a ton in this deck. But it's so free that it's worth, worth the sideboard slot. So it looks like a mulligan from Simon there and a keep from Christoffer.
Alrighty. 10th District Legionnaire in hand, Shocking and Sacred Foundry. 1 drop. What's it going to be? Hoplite or Swift Spear? Or just nothing? I'm just going to kill whatever you play. Perhaps.
Altså lige nu ved jeg det jo seriøst ikke. Jeg kan ikke se på mine briller. Altså det could be anyone. I'm at 18. And I'm still confused who he is.
No 1 drop. Alright, Thoughtseize. Let's see what we got here. Only 1 target for these pump spells. 10th District Legionnaire. Stuck into the graveyard immediately, so Christoffer also goes down to 18.
The only threat, so that is very huge. So one bit of sideboarding change that I think is kind of hilarious, and I think we'll all agree on. The C-Note Scout is back in.
Yay!
The second one.
Get in there, buddy.
As that would have completely changed the game. That was the major change, is Christoffer Larsen put that second one back in.
Shouldn't have benched him, coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for real, if that was in there for that other game, we'd be going to game 6.
Yeah. Yeah, this would have been a completely different situation. As it stands right now, Simon Nielsen is 1 game away from joining Seth Manfield in the finals
doesn't
of
count.
Pro Tour Murders at Karlov Manor.
All right, so there is the Wild Growth Walker. Simon really needs to find a threat here.
Definitely does. No creatures at the moment.
there it is.
Oh, okay.
There's the Legionnaire. So able to play that.
And just start slamming.
Yep. And it's really going to put the pressure on what's in hand here for Chris.
Wow. Love it. So no effects before damage is dealt. Down to 14 goes Christopher. 1 mana left open. The Torch the Tower we do see there.
Yeah, Torch is okay here. Can definitely break up the combo. Unable to do any bargaining though, so it is just the shock value, but that still deals with enough of the combo.
Won't kill Wild Growth Walker, but can certainly deal. Ooh,
Oh, you had the other combo.
The other combo has been declared. This is excellent. Being able to explore here and just get 2 triggers off Wild Growth Walkers, gain 6. Excellent. This is kind of the plan A post board from what Ely was telling me with when I just chatted with him right before this.
That's really, really cool. So Sonoti Scout getting some extra life here for Christoffer Larsen, which could very well be relevant.
Yes.
As we're going to Homestead Courage 10th District Legionnaire.
And now these creatures just have a lot more heavy lifting to do. You got to get this Legionnaire to be gigantic and also fade one of the fatal pushes that Christopher brought in, while simultaneously fading the combo itself. And there's kind of 2 combos, like Simon was just alluding to. He's very right. Just more exploring or the actual Amalia blow everything up combo.
Wild Growth Walkers can get extremely large. If we see the Sentinel of the Nameless City coming in next turn, perhaps.
Yeah, and
This is gonna be rough.
Yeah, not a ton of extra ways to explore. There's that other C-Note Scout and then the Sentinel of the Nameless City. That would be ideal for Chris. If he has that next turn to just play land 4, Sentinel of the Nameless City, and then crack a map to do some exploring, that would be excellent.
10th District Legionnaire doing its best to hold down the fort. Flavor text here is quite appropriate. The 10th is under heavy attack, but it's being handled. I sent Maliva. So 1-man army here. 1-woman army, I should say.
Fair, yeah. And there is no way to give it trample right now. Monstrous Rage is definitely the card Simon needs to really push through damage. Big turn for Christoffer Larsen. He's got a huge advantage so far, I would say.
Certainly does. Up on life. Up on cards in hand, I believe, and board presence looking great. And there is the fatal push. Do we have an answer for it? No, no protection to be given here to the threat for Simon Nielsen.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Huge. The 2 cards that I was saying were the most important, he had both of them. And went with the fatal push first, because if there was a way to protect it, then maybe Christopher had another thing. But a quick glance there, I saw Amalia and Prosperous Innkeeper. It's there.
It's there, but I mean, does he even need it at this point? So another 10th District Legionnaire found. That's the 3rd copy.
Yeah. If Simon taps out, he'll go for it. If not, I think he'll just try to win with this fair crack a map, double explore, crack a map, double explore type plan.
So Danes don't block. So no block from Christoffer Larsen, down to 13 to 12 for Simon Nielsen. 10th District Legionnaire holding down the fort as best she can up against 2 Wild Growth Walkers and a repetitive source of exploring here in the map tokens, courtesy of the Sentinel of the Nameless City. So she's, what, 4 power right now?
Yep. So there is the Explore, gets these 2 triggers, gains 6, goes to 19. And yeah, you got to think there's just not going to be too much comboing going on from Chris. The combat phase is a little tricky here, though, because you can't attack with that Sentinel of the Nameless City unless you're okay losing it, which looks like Chris is, because getting the map is so valuable here. It represents 6 more life.
Yeah, he was really hoping to find a non-land on the top of the library because he targeted the Sentinel with the first map.
Yes.
So didn't get the counter. He's going to have to take one for the team here, but loads of damage coming through. Still, Simon Nielsen's down to 6.
Yeah, that was a very big miss right there. Now, can crack the map again to try to find something, but mostly just 2 more counters, 6 more life, saying, Simon, good luck dealing that much damage here. Would be up to 25.
Padded the life total so nicely as Christoffer Larsen.
Yeah. Simon breaking that rule immediately, saying Danes don't block. Did some blocking.
Well,
I
to be fair,
think Chris was
Christoffer
hoping for that. Chris was hoping for that.
Gonna follow up here with Amalia, perhaps? Or is it going to be the Innkeeper?
Looks like the map to be cracked first to start. I like that.
All right, Fauna Shaman on top. Is it going to stay there or hit the bin?
Probably want that one. I guess looking for some better stuff. And now you can play one of these things. You can't play both. Otherwise, it begins.
Well,
you can, but
both with the treasure.
it could end in a draw.
Yeah, and in the,
right
the
now,
position
Chris
that
is
Chris
too
is
far
in, like, he
ahead,
doesn't
yeah.
want the draw.
Exactly.
Not at all. Oh boy, Lorenz escape. There's the indestructible.
Yep.
There comes Gigantha to hand. Turn passes back. 10th District Legionnaire hanging out, hoping for the best here at this point.
Yeah, and I think Simon's best chance of having this game not end in Christoffer winning the game is for Chris to go for the combo. So Simon's hoping for it at this point, which is not very common.
Yeah. Christoffer knows that there are shenanigans afoot, so Wild Growth Walkers getting in. Even the Prosperous Innkeeper is like, all right, cool. Put me out to bat, I'm ready.
Yep. Simon is at 6, so has to do a little bit of chump blocking here. Now this does get it large enough, not to kill the walker, just to not die. And then there's 5 damage to Simon, going down to 1. And then I would not be too surprised to just see Chris say go, maybe channel Takanuma at end step, if need be.
Take the damage.
It's a 4-5, down to 1.
Down to 1.
Oh my goodness. How many games has Simon Nielsen been in where the life total of one player has been 1?
Chris just showed us, like, you want me to play this one?
Goodness me. The mind games from Christoffer Larsen. Seems completely unfazed. Top 3 into the bin, bringing back the Sentinel, the Nameless City.
Taking a little damage to do so. And then at this point, outside of, and I don't even think it's enough, outside of like anger into anger into anger into monstrous rage, that'll be it.
Yeah.
Okay, can torch the walker there in combination.
On the end step, yeah. Turn comes back to Simon Nielsen. What do you draw?
And with the, we know Gigantha's the one-out card, so. Nowhere near enough. It had to be rage first, then raid. I don't think it would have been enough in the first place, but.
Only gets a scry off of the target there, so you know what? Just get the old elk down and see what Christoffer's got. Yeah, at this point, it's going to be the Prosperous Innkeeper just getting the win. Oh, what great sports these two are. Love it.
Well, we're going to game 6.
Yeah, 5. So this could be the deciding game here for Christoffer Larsen and Simon Nielsen. Who is going to join Seth Manfield in the finals? This has been an absolutely grueling matchup between these two players. It's not over yet, but there is a Swift Spear almost being thrown at Christoffer Larsen.
Yeah, passing the red zone there. All right, and the thoughts, as much as these players joke around, they both feel the gravity of this match, and you know they're able to do both. They're able to have fun and still play high-level Magic.
I think that's every
Which is
Magic
very
player's
apparent.
dream. Yeah, it's so rare to be able to like just throw all caution to the wind, have a great time, and still play almost perfectly.
Yeah, it just shows how great of a game is. You can be like these players, having a blast with your friends, playing some Magic at high stakes, or you can be like Seth, you know, who still plays the most amazing Magic ever, but definitely wears his emotion on his sleeves a little bit more and gets a little bit more stressed about the things. Just love this game.
It's the best game in the world, man.
So I see another Thoughtseize, a Prosperous Innkeeper, 2 of them, and 1 other mystery card, the Selfless Savior. So Chris does not have this all wrapped up type hand. And really, Simon's hand is not great either. Might have been some mulligans from these players as well. So
Oh, yeah. So
going to be
Selfless
more of
Savior.
a longer game here, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so. See who assembles the pieces of the puzzle quicker here. Chris Larsen has the Innkeeper as well as the Selfless Savior to protect one important piece of the combo, but Simon Nielsen's just going to start churning through his deck. He has Trample, he has Ancestral Rage, he's got Monstrous Rage token attached to the Swift Spear as well, so down to 8 goes Chris Larsen.
Yeah, Ancestral Rage is probably the best draw there, just anything to pump it up.
Another Thoughtseize.
Okay, Chris is already going down to 6 here.
Wow. That is painful. So Lorenz escaped the card in hand. I mean, you may as well.
Yep, might as well cast it. So,
Oh. He's targeting the Innkeeper.
okay. To prevent the combo this turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. To guarantee a draw just in case Chris had it. I think Chris only has the 1 card in hand, so it's just not possible. But here's an Innkeeper to keep Chris even on life, because he had to pay 1 for it to then gain 1. So any draw for Chris, like a Sentinel, something like that would be great, as it does keep gaining him life. But Chris is hellbent. This is Simon's game to win right here.
Tense moments here in the semi-final as Seth Manfield awaits one of these players to join him in the finals of this Pro Tour. Simon Nielsen draws, goes to combat.
Now this feels much more like a game. This feels much more like a game where this Giganta can actually come into play.
Yeah.
Normally, not really that relevant, but a 5/5 on this battlefield would look great.
It sure would. So is Christoffer Larsen going to bluff here? We have Mana Confluence in hand. Hoping to catch a glimpse of the second card there.
Yeah, it was just drawn. It looked like a 1-mana white spell.
Lorenz escape or God's willing.
Yeah, I think it was an escape. But, I mean, right now we're deciding if Chris wants to block, because this could be Chris's entire tournament right here.
Did I hear
If-
no blocks?
Yeah, I think no blocks.
4.
Ooh.
And now we're probably just going to see Giganta.
Yeah.
Big draw step for Chris.
Oh,
Quarter calling.
Quarter calling.
Okay. I mean, that's
Du
the
tvivler,
best
man,
draw.
Jeg kan fortælle, at den også er en vampyr.
That's the best draw in your deck, no matter what, because Chris has the ability to really go fetch up anything. Now let's see. Can go get Sentinel of the Nameless City. Can go get Wild Growth Walker. It doesn't do much. Neither really do that much. There's still some pieces missing, but
Yeah.
here it is. We're going to see what we chord for.
Something to get in the way of this trampling Swift Spear.
Yep.
It's going to be Amalia.
Yep.
All right.
So this is going to be 2 life gain triggers, which means Amalia is going to explore twice. So if anything, you can get the lands off the top of your deck. You can keep something nice on top.
Yeah.
And it can block the Swift Spear next turn, and the Selfless Savior can protect it.
Yeah.
So, Chris, that was the best draw. Amalia was definitely the best as you get to fix your top of your deck here. Maybe try to find Wild Growth Walker. And then, if you see a Wild Growth Walker on top, it's face-up information.
Yeah.
There's no way Simon can go land 5 Giganta at that point. Then the game ends.
Oh, yeah. No, that's just not even an option at that point. So we're exploring 2 lands.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, filtering.
Now, Simon can make that play if he wants to. Just jam Giganta if we find land 5 and hope. It's Defiant Strike.
Defiant Strike.
Now, Simon, on the flip side of this, can just win the game if he's able to find a Monstrous Rage. Defiant Strike on this would be 4 power. Monstrous Rage would make it 5, 6, 7. So it would be 1 short. You need a little bit more than that, but I think that other card...
I think it's Lorenz escape, so the
Exactly.
Taoist trigger would get him there.
Exactly. So if Simon's able to draw a card into either Monstrous Rage or Ancestral Rage.
We do this pre-combat, right? In case we get a sorcery.
I would think so. I think you do it now because you can draw Ancestral Rage here for Simon to be heading to the finals of the Pro Tour here at Murders at Karlov Manor.
Yeah,
It's
let's
all
go
on
for it.
what's on top of the deck.
All right, pre-combat. Defiant Strike.
Any red card? It's a land.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the flip side of this. If indeed that card is Lauren's Escape, which it looks like it. Now, if Christoffer blocks here, I think he's pretty priced into doing so and then making it indestructible with the Selfless Savior. Oh, he said didn't block.
What?
It's not lethal. Because, yeah, Simon could have only made it to 1. Now, if Chris does find Wild Growth Walker and goes for it, Simon can draw the game.
Det mange måder, hvad man
We
kan
might
kalde
just see that here,
magic.
Corey.
Yeah.
Does he find it?
He's doing the sweat as well.
Oh
Wild
my
Growth Walker!
What? Okay, all right, combo assembled, but Lauren's Escape is there, so we're gonna have another draw.
I believe we're going to head to game 7.
What? Unbelievable stuff.
Unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this.
So we essentially have what best 3 out of 5, actually out of 7?
For now.
Hvad kan man gøre for at stoppe det?
And just deciding, I think more Christoffer was thinking, is there anything else I could have done here?
Yeah.
So the Escape is on the Wild Growth Walker. It's going to make it indestructible.
This deck needs sack outlets.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way. It's a draw.
Yeah, it's gonna be a draw. So we are not done here yet, friends.
Så jeg vil gerne se, hvordan du har sideboardet. Men når du skubber. Nå, det
er
vil du gerne skubbe. Hvad siger du? Du vil gerne skubbe. Nå, det er fint. Ja, så tager vi den en gang.
You can scoop, it's fine.
No, he's saying he can't. They cannot go. Simon is saying, I get to see how you sideboard it.
Right, true.
Yeah, so Simon gets the information. He's entitled to it. Oh!
Jeg tror ikke, der er noget, der gør noget.
What'd you see?
Okay,
Jeg får lov til at scribe.
a cycling land going to hand. Does this change this? So if we put something on top,
Scattered Groves.
yeah, this is a scatter. This is a way to
Jeg
cycle.
tror, du skulle have ramt
Wait.
Scatter Growth, før du ramte begge dine pushes. Det har ikke gjort noget.
Okay, this is
Get a
definite.
push.
Og så, hvor langt står den lige nu? Og det var det, jeg skulle ramme Scatter Growth, inden jeg ramte mine pushes, når det var.
præcis, ja.
Okay, so cycle to get a push to kill Wild Growth Walker.
Nej, men hvor stod, fordi der
Or
var
to
på
kill
tidspunkt, hvor de andre dyr.
Amalia.
Åh,
Vi
ja.
vil også lige have med.
Because the Wild Growth Walker is going to be indestructible, so you cannot
deal.
kill the Wild Growth
Okay.
Walker anymore.
Så, ja, jeg redder den der.
Okay, so we're getting a lot of counters onto Amalia. It looks like Fatal Push is on top. Is that an 18/18 powered creature?
Jeg ramte begge pushes, inden jeg ramte Scatter Growth.
Ja, præcis. Ja, det
And
gør.
all these
Okay,
triggers
det
are
kan
on
vi
the
også
stack. No, unable. Bend it. Wow, this is...
I've never seen anything like this.
No, me neither.
Beside you would go to hand. If, no, that doesn't do anything.
Can you just add life? Just spam the button.
Spam the button, yeah.
Yeah. And I guess, I mean, you can't Fatal Push your own Amalia, right? Because you got to pay the ward?
Oh, yeah.
You have to sacrifice a creature, yeah.
Well, no, you have to pay
you
3
don't. It
life.
doesn't work.
You have to pay 3 life.
Until someone stops me.
Wanna grab lunch?
I'll just, I'm gonna go until someone tells me to draw.
Kevin?
Yeah, I think it's a draw. I mean, ward, you do have to pay the life even if you target it yourself.
No, I don't think so. It's
Oh,
just
you don't?
if you
Okay.
target another person.
Okay.
Another person's turn.
So it's a draw.
What? on
Heading to
earth?
game 7. Yeah, that cycle land really put a small wrinkle in
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's a for sure draw. So the Scattered Grove, you know, does open the ability
Yeah.
to maybe not draw that game. So, wow.
Wow. Okay. Deja vu all over again. Let's go. This is possibly, potentially, the final game that we're going to see between teammates, or excuse me, between countrymen and friends here. Christoffer Larsen, Simon Nielsen, kicking things off with a Selfless Savior to protect one of the combo pieces. We see the Wild Growth Walker in hand, but no, says Simon Nielsen, it is going to be Rending Volley to take care of the good boy.
Okay, and I saw the powerful 2-drop, the Illuminator Virtuoso here to get this stuff going. Let's see. And we see that game 7 here on the table.
Okay, fine, it's game 7.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So Lunark Veteran, I believe, is the draw there. We have the Wild Growth Walker 2. Do we have an Amalia in hand? Doesn't look like it. I think that's a Sentinel.
Yeah, some people really look for game 7s in NBA Finals, hockey finals, or something like that. No, we get a game 7 at a Pro Tour. That's the most exciting game 7 I've ever seen.
I have to ask Frank Carson if this is the first.
Yeah, no kidding.
It feels like it.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
All right, so there is Wild Growth Walker, there's Lunark Veteran, there's Fauna Shaman. Is there land 2? It looks like there was. So really the world available to Christoffer, but we saw in one of these games, you know, it's hard to even look back how far ago, but Simon presented a 20 damage creature with Lunark Veteran where Amalia had to chump block in that scenario. So Simon has the ability to win this turn, probably not with that start.
Yeah, no, this double striker is powerful, and we're gonna see, oh boy, Lunark Veteran getting taken care of, exiled, so can't even come back from the grave with Disturbed.
Simon's hand is not great, though. It's a lot of creatures. You really want to mix with this Boros Heroic deck, kind of the reason why it struggles at times. So, I mean, Simon's hand really, really needs some helps, but if he's able to draw Defiant Strike, Ancestral Rage, something like that to start chaining off these draws, that's exactly what he needs. He needs to find a way to not just have creatures here. And there it is off the top.
Are we doing the thing?
We're doing the thing. Here's the Connive to almost assuredly start getting rid of some of these creatures.
Okay, let's go.
That was another red card. Is it another Rage? No, it was a Monastery Swiftspear, the worst red card he could draw.
It's trying its best.
But he has Reckless Rage here as well to deal with the Sentinel.
Yeah, that is an important card to get off of the battlefield for sure, if this is the plan B that Christoffer's going for.
Yeah, so is able to kill the Sentinel right now. And I like doing it now because you can draw into land 3. Probably another creature going to the yard. Yeah, he was creature flooded. So that Ancestral Rage off the top was incredible.
So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that lethal?
8,
with
9,
the prowess?
10, 11. I think it's 11, right?
Yes, 11 damage.
Yeah. 11, all right, cool. So down to 3 goes Christoffer Larsen. So he needs a miracle at this point. We may, after 7 games, be extremely close to having a winner.
I don't know if there's an easy way out. Okay, Wild Growth Walker, Explore to gain 3 life. Tamiyo's safekeeping may be left on top. It's not great.
Go to 6.
Okay. Up to 6. Wild Growth Walker doing his best.
And we're seeing if I think we're still tanking on if the Tamiyo safekeeping is left on top. There's no other play for Christoffer, though. This is it.
Yeah,
so if Simon's able to beat this 1/3/6 creature, 3/5 creature, we got Simon Nielsen in the finals of another Pro Tour.
He can't keep getting away with this, Corey.
I think he can.
He sure can.
I think he sure
is that
can.
good. 2023 Player of the Year, Simon Nielsen, set history, or set a record yesterday. 4 Pro Tours in a row, top 8s. Gets to untap. Can he find a way to get this Wild Growth Walker off the board?
He doesn't need that much here. All he's got to do is put the pump spells on the Swiftspear. If he can get a Swiftspear up to a 6-power creature, the Luminarch Virtuoso is already lethal here.
Yeah. He's sitting at
the
3
Illuminator
power
Virtuoso,
currently.
excuse me.
So double striking, that'll be 6 damage.
Yeah, it's already lethal on that. So Simon just has to pump up the Swiftspear with 2 pump spells.
Needs to get to 5, because if there is another removal spell, Christoffer Larsen would take damage too with Mana Confluence.
Yeah, there isn't one. And if there was a removal spell, then he could just eliminate 1 blocker and it would be fine. But okay, so there is another Swiftspear and 1 other spell in the back, but I think it was the spell you kind of don't want here, the Lauren's Escape. Yeah, so there's that. Lauren's Escape pumps this up to 4. Any other spell would have done it, but Simon does not have it right now, unless he connives into it.
Yeah, that is a possibility. So floating the white Homeward Courage, he can cast it twice, though.
Oh, is that a Homeward Courage, not a Lorien's Escape?
Homestead Courage, excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, yeah, that's
Homestead
it. Okay.
Courage, play it back from the graveyard, flashback.
Yes. I mean, that's it. Simon's just trying to play around a possible fatal push here.
Yeah.
And seeing if he can do so, he's probably going to come to the conclusion that I don't have the luxury to play around it, so you can target one-on-one Swift Spear, the flashback on the other one.
Yeah.
That's going to be 6 going in and put Chris to exactly 0.
Take one flashback here.
Oh my goodness.
How much?
Here we go. Turning things sideways, well, except it's got Vigilance, but Simon Nielsen swinging in here. Doing the best block that Christoffer Larsen can. Is he in yet another finals of a Pro Tour?
Yep.
The answer is yes. There is the hand extended from Christoffer Larsen. Simon Nielsen with the double overtime victory, Corey.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
I honestly cannot. What an impressive streak. I don't know if he can believe it right now. Of course, these players were having a ton of fun with this, but you know how much this means to Simon. From almost missing the draft at the start of Friday, which would automatically mean your own 3, to making it to the finals to play against one of the best end bosses in the game, Seth Manfield, to have the most iconic end here.
Yeah.
Team Handshake versus Team CFB. They both have a lot to prove this year, as Handshake kind of dominated before. Now they get to really solve it in a Pro Tour finals. This is awesome.
One more round, friends. We got the finals coming up after this. Do not go anywhere.